Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. Y'all, I've had an extremely long day. This video should have been done early this morning. When I tell you everything in the world kept happening, I'm just like, really, even up until this point. Like, I was ready to record, and then thing after thing after thing kept happening, and it's literally about to be 12 a.m. Friday morning now. And I'm like, come on now. Come on. But anyway, enough about me and all the craziness that I've endured over the last 12 to 24 hours. Let's get into this recap review. So the episode starts out showing Andy leaving out of the police station in her feelings deep. And she calls Karen, and Karen is actually in the car with Aaron on their way to the gay bar where they're going to be celebrating Maurice and having a celebration for him and a fundraiser and all this other stuff. And, Karen is being very calm, cool, and collected, which we all know that is not how Karen normally gets down. So ultimately, Andy is venting to her, and she's even like, why are you acting like this? Because she's never like that calm and all of that. And so she's looking like, why are you acting like, why are you, talking like that? And then like she kind of is able to infer that Aaron is around. And so she's like, oh, okay, so he coming, huh? And so she was like, yeah. So anyway, Andy ended up calling Paris right after that and asked him, was he free? And, does he have any issues with gay bars? And he basically was like, I'll be on my way. I'm good. I can, handle that situation. I'm on my way. So Fatima and Zach are having dinner and they're talking. And so she's like, obviously something's going on. You just sat up here and went to jail. Like, what is the problem? What is actually going on? Let's talk. And so he goes into detail basically about very, very current events as far as how he got to the position that he's in right now, which is his ex was seeing the new dude, Aaron, and got into a fight with him. He landed in jail, and now they're right here. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, it gets to the point where they just talking, and she was just like, have you called your job? And so he was like, you already know I ain't got no job. I done went to jail. Like, my job is as good as gone. And so she was like, you don't know. You haven't called. You don't know what's going to happen. So he did end up calling. And the guy he had to report to was like, so what you finna do is work a double tomorrow. All right. And so this is when he is finally realizing that everything he always thinks is going to go so wrong is not necessarily always going to be that bad. Because every time he always thinks this way, it turns out to be completely different. And so he even told her, like, man, I always think it's going to go this way. But I'm always wrong. And I don't know why I always think it's going to go this other way. And you just always got to be right. So anyway, they're talking. And so she was just like, I don't know what it is about you, but I like you. And so, she want to see him win. And I'm just like, girl, why? Why are you playing Captain Save 'em? I'm not understanding what is going on here. But anyway, so they're at the gay bar early, and you can tell that ain't nobody really there yet. Maurice ain't even there. And I mean, it's expected that he ain't gonna be there. But anyway, so they're there and they're talking, and Karen is talking to Andy, and she's kind of trying to tell her what's going on. She just sent Aaron away to go get drinks for them or whatever so they can have their little girl talk. And she was like, look, it's over with me and Gary. And, Karen looking like, because she always say it's over. Just like Karen always say it's over with Zach. And it don't never be over. But I don't even think it's going to be over this time. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. But anyway, so she was like, yeah, whatever. And it was just to the point where she was like, well, I'm really done with him this time. I used to think that the stuff he was doing was cute. Why would you think that somebody being overly obsessive and super jealous for literally no reason is cute, sexy, and all this other stuff? None of that is synonymous with being sexy and cute? I'm not understanding. Like, she really sat up there and was like, well, I just thought it was cute when he was being jealous like that. For what? Why? You literally say, hey, I'm dealing with all of your crap. Hey, I have some friends that can help you. This is the only person that I know in the entire world who will owe me a favor, and I'm willing to use this favor on you, you trash dude who I have been sleeping with, and you are a whole married man, but you are over here worried about whether or not this man wants me. And over here thinking that I'm with these people, when the whole time I'm thinking of your well-being, and I want you to be able to win. I want you to be able to make it. But the only thing you can think is that maybe I'm screwing them and they want me. And it's like, why your mind always go there? Every time I saw him, he just would instantly make my head hurt. And I'm just so tired. And I'm glad that Andy's not with Gary anymore, because I'm just like, how can you go to law school with all of the stuff that you have to learn and retain, and you are really this dumb when it comes to your personal life? Like, the stupidity is unreal to me. But I digress. I know this is a TV show, but I'm just saying, this stuff happens in real life too. I'm just trying to say I've seen this, and I'm just like, the stupidity is just too real for me. So anyway, but yeah, girl bye on that, thinking that he was looking sexy and fine when he was being obsessive and a narcissist and all this other stuff. Like, for what? Anyway, Maurice is at his house doing the most, and Calvin is there, and they are very, very cool with one another. And it gets to the point where he looking at him like, all right, now we need to go. You doing the most. Everybody gonna be waiting on you. And he was like, that's the way it's supposed to go. They supposed to wait for me. So then they get into a conversation where Calvin is like, yeah, this is a nice place. Got a lot of color going on up in here. How many rooms is this? 2? And so he was like, no, 3. And this was all for Calvin to lead up to asking him if he could move in with him, because his finances are not all there, because he's had to, pick up the slack for his father, because when his other father passed away, he had to put so much money on the bills and all this other stuff. So he really is struggling financially. So he was like, well, you might not want to do that, because I get kind of loud when I have my gentlemen callers come over, and ain't no telling what I might do when I wake up in the morning and I know you here. So, despite them being cool or whatever, he looking at him like, I don't know about all that. But at the same time, he kind of wouldn't mind, because he's renting to own. And Calvin knows people who can help him, because apparently Maurice has beyond terrible credit. And when he tried to suggest that Maurice was renting, he was like, oh, how dare you? Like, no, I am not renting. That is for poor people. That is for broke people. I am leasing to own. He didn't even say rent to own. He said, I am leasing to own. I was like, oh my gosh, you're doing the most. You literally said the same thing. It ain't yours until the balance is completely paid off. I'm just stop. But anyway, it's just to the point where Calvin is like, look, never even speak of this to Sabrina, that this has even come up in conversation. Like, I don't need her to know none of this, and whatever. And so he was like, well, why don't you just ask her if you can move in with her? He looking like, no, what that look like? And he was like, well, I mean, if me and you move in, I have to talk to her anyway and let her know that we in here and doing what we doing. And y'all know how he always got to be nasty. So that's what he was saying, doing the most. Y'all, so anyway, back at the gay bar, Dani is still in her feelings, as we saw on the previous episode. She in there in her work clothes looking crazy. She getting some tequila in her system. She even complaining about that. And I'm like, how you complaining about all this free liquor that you always get? Aaron, to my knowledge, is the one paying for all this liquor. And you even got something slick to say about that. But anyway, so she in her feelings. And she mad because the line out the door is full of fine men. And all the ones that she looking at outside the door are gay. And so the bartender that they always show us, he came to the table and wanted to know what they wanted or whatever. And so she was complaining, and she was like, ain't enough in here I want, everything I want, they don't want me. And so he was like, well, just about all of the bartenders are here. they are straight. And so that kind of perked her up, and she went and tried to go talk to this bartender. And I mean, it seemed to go all right or whatever. Aaron is in there trying to get his life together because he's not used to gay men looking at him and all this other stuff. So him and Karen are trying to have a moment, and Andy kind of trying to break that up a little bit, trying to be hating a little bit, but then her little boo to be or whatever it's gonna be, and I'm really hoping it's not gonna be what I think it's gonna be, because I'm gonna be tired in my spirit. I really don't think it's gonna be that, but that would be extreme if it does go there, and I'll tell y'all later on what I'm talking about. But anyway, Paris, he showed up like he said he would. Since Dani was at the bar, she allowed him to basically sit down where Dani was sitting, and yeah, they were talking. And it's funny because Aaron and Paris already know each other because they've bowled. They're in some bowling league, I guess, together, or they bowled together. And so, you know, they are already very familiar with one another. Maurice finally came in. He made his grand entrance as extravaganza. And he got up there, he did a speech, and he was reading people a little bit, but then he, of course, became very serious when he was thanking people for, you know, their support while he was in the hospital, and the prayers, and, you know, the money and all of the stuff that they're doing. And he gave somewhat of a tribute to Calvin's fathers, even the one that was deceased, because they actually had been doing all kinds of fighting for gay rights long before he even came along and all of this. And, you know, it was just an amazing type of situation, because he was just like, it's ridiculous that we are being discriminated against. We shouldn't have to be discriminated against and judged for who we are. And just because we are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. So did a nice speech, and then everybody partied. So back to Zach. I thought to say Jack. Back to Zach and Fatima. They talking, and they are now outside, and they've had drinks, and they've eaten, and all of this other stuff. And so Zach is giving her his own little sobriety test, and I'm just like, who are you? But anyway, she's indulging in what he's talking about or whatever. And so she was like, see, I'm good. And she was like, you know, let me take you home. And so he was kind of like going all the way around the world. And so she figured out that he ain't got nowhere to go, because of course he was with the ex. And she decided up here, offered up a room at her house. And he, you know, kind of was like, I don't think I should do that. And so she was like, look, come on, you know, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to do this or whatever. And so, you know, he's basically embarrassed about his living situation. And it's a lot. But she's just like, look, I'm here for you. It is what it is. I see potential. Are you going to come and do what you need to do, get your life together, and just, I'm offering this room up to you. Are you here for it or not? Because you don't have anywhere to go. So eventually he was like, yeah, all right, cool. So I'm just tired. This heifer done offered up a whole room in her house. I can't lie. So anyway, everybody is having a good time at the bar. And Dani eventually comes over and was like, oh, I'm finna go home. You can tell she's a little tipsy or whatever. Talking about she finna go home, and, you know, she just finna go. And everybody like, no, how you gonna go? And y'all, I was about to say Novi. I gotta stop. I like, for whatever reason, a lot of times I think of these people's real names. Sabrina. Sabrina was like, no, I'm not ready to go home yet. Because, you know, they did a Uber share or whatever it was. And, you know, she was just like, I don't want to be here. Because you already know she ain't here for Maurice. So it's kind of like, why are you even there? Because it's a celebration all about him and you and your feelings, because a lot of these men be pulling men and don't even have to try. And you can't really keep no man, and they stay getting one. And so she and her feelings anyway. So Sabrina and Calvin were dancing. Like, everybody and their man was dancing or whatever. So Sabrina wanted Calvin to, you know, give some very, very good clarification as to what he meant when he said that he loved her. Like, do you mean you love me as in, you know, I love you? Or do you really? And so he like laughed. He was like, no, I love you. Like, I said what I said. I love you. And I understand that you didn't say it back. It's cool. You know, take your time. But I'm just going to keep on showing you, you know, basically the way. So eventually you will reach that same destination as well. And so she looked like she was all here for it and happy and was like, oh, okay, no pressure. That's cool. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So anyway, Paris and Andy are dancing, and Paris, his member becomes hard. And Andy notices, and she's very drunk, and she's here for this. And so she's like, oh, so yeah, you're hard. And yeah, I would like to just go now. Let's go. And so Karen sees all of this going on. So she was like, girl, we finna go. And so she looked like, oh no, excuse me. Let me, you know, talk to my friend for a minute. Andy, what you doing? You good? You sure you all right? And so she's like, I'm grown. I can take care of myself. It is what it is. And Karen is really trying to talk her down, but it's to the point where she's like, look, Aaron, she told me she grown. It is what it is. She finna go back to his place. So, I mean, she say she grown and I can do. So they went on about their business. Back at Fatima's place, they're there and they're about to have a nightcap. And, you know, just to make a long story short, they start talking about some stuff. Fatima's like, look here, I like what I like. I see you. I see what it is. Discuss the events that have happened between his ex and himself and all the stuff that was going on. And they begin to make out. And then it is inferred that they have done the do. She's busted wide open and told him to bring it back. And we shall see what happens on the next episode because the most was going on this one. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for my new subscribers. Please like this video. If you want to, you can share it. And definitely come down in the comment section and comment. I really do appreciate it. Y'all have a good one and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.